finally, it's 26th of November, and we finally reached 50K in revenue for them with a really good MER. And the client is pretty happy. Here's the message that we got today in Slack. And the big thing is that I just want to mention that the previous two agencies we had struggled, and frankly, after 2-3 months, we saw their energy completely change and they didn't try anymore. We know how committed you guys are, so thanks a lot. Hey everyone, my name is Nes and I am the founder of Now Agency. And in this video, this will be a really quick video. I'm gonna describe on how we are scaling clients this Black Friday. And if you're not sure about the right setup for your campaigns after Andromeda specifically, if you're struggling with that, this might really help. Of course, it might be already too late. It's the 26th of November, right? But you still have a few days. And by the way, you still have holidays. You still have holiday sales where you can run the same kind of stuff and apply the same methods. At the same time, you have still Cyber Monday, and you still have Black Friday. If you jump right in and implement all of this, that can help. But again, ideally, you should have started 2 weeks before this. But anyway, let me jump straight into this. So I also want to attach this to the case study we have with one of our clients, and I'm really happy for them because we are working with them for about 12 months. We started last year in October, and things were really bad for them. They had 1x ROAS basically in August, September combined. As you can see, the cost per acquisition was pretty high, $150. And because they had also lower AOV, and that's how they also struggle with this. And I want to show you here the CTR. CTR is pretty low here as well, and the cost per click was pretty high. And the thing is, they were not sure what they're doing right now. They had just a few winning ads they had from June, that they were still utilizing and trying to scale. And when we jumped to the account, basically we didn't have a single ad that was working well or a single angle. So especially when I started running ads here, this was October. This was also horrible. I won't be, like shouting for October, because October also is, for some of the brands, it's the lowest month because people are also delaying their sales till November because they know they will get deals on Black Friday, especially if it's not especially if it's fashion, if it's high AOV fashion, it's not something they needed right now, right? So you can see that we've tested so many ads in October actually, and at the beginning of November, but CPM was already going high. We were struggling as well to kind of like find what's working, what's not, because it was really, like conversion wasn't there as well. Even though we had good creatives, but conversion wasn't there and the ROAS was pretty bad. But we didn't stop just on that. We continued testing, and this is November, December screenshot of this ad account, and you can see that our ROAS is better 135. But at the same time, we found winning campaigns that had even 2.5x ROAS, 3x ROAS as well, 1.9x ROAS. And this is just one of the ad accounts. We also launched the second ad account at the time. And at that time, on the second ad account, the results were around 2-3x ROAS as well. So it wasn't an easy way, for sure. But again, huge shout outs to the client because he believed in us and he also saw how hard we were working on so many ads. So for example, in October, we've tested like 200 ads for only, I think, 10K ad spend. So you can imagine like so much work we did for this one. And yeah, it given us the results we wanted actually a bit later, actually, right? Because then again, you don't want to start running ads in Black Friday. You need to build your audiences during the year, and then you capitalize in Black Friday. And then we had a chance to kind of like scale this business. It's really hard. So this is the previous year. This is the previous year, right? So you can see that they had 15K revenue in June. And then they had, again, we scaled them to 25K in November and December as well. So it was pretty good. So they were getting around 2.5, 3x MER, I would say, return on ad spend, right? And then basically we had a drop in January, February because of some business delays as well. And we reduced the ad spend to almost zero, I would say, to like $1,000 or $1,500 a month. But we still get good results on that. It was around 10K in revenue per month. So our ROAS actually went up when we decreased the ad spend, and it was selling well. So, and we also delayed on the February, I would say this one, the Lover's Day or something like that, 14th February, right? So because client didn't have time to prepare for that. But then we launched in March. We scaled the budget in March. We jumped the revenue up to 30K again, 34K or something. So as you can see, like the growth, they were hitting like maybe 8-10K per month maximum in their previous year, and even lower in the previous year before that. Maybe 15K they had in June, where it was selling really well. But then we started getting for them constantly 30K per month, Even in May and in August, we reached almost 50K. Here it was like 43, I think, or 45. Here it was like 47, so pretty close. In September, it was like, again, more than 40K. And finally, the good thing is that finally, it's 26th of November, and we finally reached 50K in revenue for them with a good, really good MER. And the client is pretty happy. Here's the message that we got today in Slack. And the big thing is that I just want to mention that the previous two agencies we had struggled, and frankly, after 2-3 months, we saw their energy completely change and they didn't try anymore. We know how committed you guys are, so thanks a lot. So I think this is a big pride for us, and really appreciate this client a lot because he believed in us, he believed in our confidence, because we were testing a lot of things actually to find out what works, what type of ads works, and so on. So if you're just testing 10 ads per month, that's not enough, especially in Andromeda space. It may work for you if you have a sale, if you have a Black Friday sale, but it's not enough. Okay, guys, so let me jump right into the setup on how we are running ads right now, post-Andromeda, and how I think it would be the best if you are running ads, if you're spending less than $500 a month, or maybe a bit more as well. But especially, I think it will help a lot for those businesses that are struggling to get off the ground, and also that are at least 30, 50K, maybe up to 100K in revenue. Honestly, this video will help even bigger businesses because probably you see in the video previously that I shared how we tripled high AOV, $1,500 AOV jewelry business in just 3 months. So you can check that out as well. It was posted, I think, a few weeks ago. But in this video, I'm going to share what I think will be the best, especially after Andromeda, and I think it's working really well. All right, so let's jump right into the ad account. As you can see, for the last 13 days, let me refresh that. We have 6x ROAS, which is pretty crazy, right? And most of the sales are coming from click attribution. So I would say like maybe 80% of sales are coming from click attribution. So it's pretty good. And at the same time, you see like conversion just skyrocketed basically. And all that, and we have just one campaign. And this is also after Andromeda, like we optimized our campaign structure. We simplified our campaign structure. Before Andromeda, we had ABO testing campaign, we had CBO for scaling, or maybe we were scaling also inside of the ABO if our ads were working well. But after that, we actually decided to make a switch, and now it's working better than ever. And at the same time, you might ask, okay, where's the Black Friday campaign? Actually, we don't have it. It's inside of here. So I'm going to describe it how it works just in a second. Before Black Friday, we launched actually on 2 weeks before Black Friday, we launched on 16th of November. But before that, we had a week, another week of running pre-Black Friday, early Black Friday ads. So we've been running Instagram reminder campaign ads. So basically, it's something like you can just click remind when the sale starts. We were also running to warm traffic, getting leads from lead forms, kind of collecting leads. So we can also send them email campaigns, kind of like sign up early in order not to miss some, sales, some offers, and because we have limited stock as well. So, and that really helped. So we used those leads. We got like, not many, but like 50, I think, something leads that we sent to the client so that they can send email campaign on early Black Friday. And we had a lot of Instagram reminders as well for pretty cheap. And I would really definitely, so these are two campaigns, right? I would definitely recommend for you to launch these campaigns, especially if you have some new drops in your fashion business, right? Jewelry or clothing, doesn't matter. If you have this is pretty cool stuff. It's pretty cheap, and you can actually, get your target audience if you optimize well, if you limit to specific placements, if you limit also to your warm audiences, right? Because like showing reminder ad to person that doesn't like actually care about your business doesn't make sense. I'm not saying about existing customers. These are all new customer purchases. This is really important, right? Because we don't target existing customers. We exclude all existing customers we have in the ad account. And these are all new customers, basically. So that's really important that you target specifically new audiences, right? But again, I mentioned that you can actually target lookalike audiences, right? Based on purchases for these two type of campaigns. You can target your Instagram, Facebook engagers, right? You can target those who watch more than 50 or 60% of the videos, especially the longer ones, for example. So that means they're kind of interested in your product. So that's something you can actually leverage and see, and test it for yourself. But again, right now it's not enough time. So what you should do right now to actually run a good Black Friday? So there are a couple of things I want to mention here. All right, so there are a couple of things I would recommend you if you're running, let's say, less than $500 a day budget. So I'd recommend at least $500 a day budget for the CBO, for at least one CBO. If you have, let's say, 3K budget, you can do a couple of CBOs, right? Depends on if you have multiple collections you want to dedicate budget to, right? But at least I would say ideally you need to get up to $500 a day on the CBO in order to optimize the CBO well, so you'll get the amount of sales you need, and so on. But at the same time, try to simplify as much as possible. I wouldn't have many campaigns, right? Better to have just one campaign at 1K a day and test and also scale inside of that one, because all data will be collected on the campaign level, right? Not on the multiple campaigns, ABO, CBO, blah, 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 and so on. So here are the things that I actually think that would help you scale. So we have the first setup and we have the second setup, right? So the first setup, that's actually what we use for this client, is the testing CBO, but also the scaling CBO. So let me just add it here. Scaling CBO, all right? At least $200 a day budget, right? But of course you can start lower if you don't have it. Especially, I would say that if your ad account is optimized, you can start with lower budget. If you have already sales in the past, if you're running business not for the first days, if you're running ads for like a few months, if you already have sales, start with at least, I would say, $200, $250 a day, because it will optimize faster. And make sure you have enough ads inside, because it's really important after Andromeda you have multiple ad sets. So here, first of all, with what we added and how we started the CBO, we started with evergreen ad sets. We had multiple ones. We had videos, we had carousels, we had images, and even different types of ads as well, right? At the same time, after we started early Black Friday, we just added on top here new ad set with Black Friday. Again, excluding existing customers and also excluding customers on the ad set level, on the ad account level, all right? So you won't target them, because Meta can sometimes still do that, and it's not pretty good. And so the big thing is actually, once you add here your Black Friday ad sets, there is a really big chance that it will take the majority of the ad spend. But the cool feature is that you can now limit that. You actually could limit that even before. You can set like the min spend, the max spend on the CBO. But now I like it even more, because you can set the percentage, right? So the percentage of the total CBO budget, basically. So let's say you want to spend only 10% on your Black Friday bottom of the funnel ad sets, right? And that's it. Or for example, you want to spend, let's say, 50% of the ad spend on your top of the funnel creatives that are working well. And you just set it and it works. So this is one thing, how you can set it up. I'm going to show you how it works inside of our ad account. But another setup you can do is like, let's say, usually people have like, let's say, testing CBO or testing scaling CBO, right? Evergreen, I would say, where they keep it right running. And then they add another CBO for Black Friday dedicated specifically, or, this also could work. You can also have 3 ad sets inside here, broad advantage plus, excluding customers. And then also some warm traffic here, lookalikes excluding customers as well. Most of all, the budget will go, majority of the ad spend will go to broad, but sometimes it goes also here and here. So it will depend on your business, I would say, but this is also possible. What I don't like about this setup is actually, again, all learnings will be on this campaign, not on this one. So you can't use these learnings on this one in future to kind of like optimize this campaign better. Yes, there are some data you can also get on the ad account level, etc. But let's be honest, like majority of those are on the campaign level, and especially if it's CBO, right? If it's ABO, it can be on the ad set level, but if it's a CBO, it's better. It will be on the campaign level, majority of that. So the thing is, I really like this setup, honestly. And I think we will be moving our clients, especially those who are struggling with, let's say, after Andromeda, moving into this setup. And we are already doing that. So let me go into the ad account and show you how it actually works. All right, so we are inside of our CBO campaign. And here you can see like we are setting, what is that? Minimum 50%, right? And what is this minimum 10%, I would say, right? You may ask, but the thing is, this is how we set also limits on these, because we've seen, for example, this specific ad set, it has also the lowest frequency and the highest ad spend. But if I wouldn't set this up, like if I wouldn't set the minimum percentage here, it wouldn't spend there. It would just spend like a lot of money into Black Friday ad sets, which we have a lot of those, multiple ones. And you can see on those frequencies rising pretty fast. So if the frequency is already 4x on this one, I would say it's a bit of bottom of the funnel ad, definitely. And it's targeting warm and hot traffic, right? But we also need to fulfill our funnel from the top and get, new customers, because, what's the point? We'll just reuse all the customers and sales will drop after. So at the same time, we know that, for example, for this business, if you're getting this kind of CPC and this kind of CTR, you can also see that it's just one of the best CPC CTRs right now we have in an ad account on this organic IG post, right? I think we use actually the post from Instagram because it did really well organically, and we also used it with Post ID and run it as an ad, basically. So it's pretty cool stuff. You can also reuse it. Not all of the posts work like that, but this one is actually working really well. The CPM is lower on this one. The CPM is also on this one. So it's pretty cool we have, and that's why we decided to kind of like give 50% at least ad spend, because it's reaching new people and it's working pretty cool. The CTR is good. The CPC is pretty low comparing to what others we have here. And that's why we want to keep it, as top of the funnel ad and give it as much budget as possible. But if we scroll to the right, you will see that our ROAS is lower and our conversion rate is actually lower. But that actually makes sense because we are targeting cold people. They are not ready to buy from the first touch. All of these, right, converters here, they're all people delaying their purchases from October and September, right? Those who were actually waiting for the Black Friday and so on and so on. So now is just the time for them to buy, right? But here you're actually reaching new audiences, and it makes sense. The ROAS is lower, conversion rate is lower, but at the same time, if you check your Google Analytics, if you check your GA4, if you check your bounce rate, we are getting really good engagement rate from this specific ad, and that's why we want to keep it running, even with worse ROAS, even with lower conversion rate, because we know it actually fills our funnel, and this is really important, right? If you wouldn't, and this is how you can actually set up these, max ad spend. Let me show you. So when you go to the ad set level settings here on the budget and schedule, you will see that ad spending limits, right? You need to click and drop it down and kind of open this drop down. You set a minimum maximum spend limit, and then you set the average minimum, right? Or let's say if you have just one Black Friday ad set, you can set the maximum daily minimum ad spend budget for, let's say 10-20%, right? So 80% of your budget will be working for cold or warm traffic, depends on what you have right now in the funnel. Maybe your ads are already working for warm and hot, and you need just to add more top of the funnel ads. And it's really sometimes hard to predict what ads will work for top of the funnel or bottom of the funnel, especially in fashion industry, right? So that's why you need to test really a lot of ads and then see, okay, if the ad is actually spending good amount of money and the frequency is low and the CPC, CTR is great, hook and hold rate is great, maybe we are not getting that ROAS as we need. But if you are getting add to carts, if you're getting checkouts, if our engagement rate is strong, then you need to keep running these ads. They're bringing your fresh traffic, they bring your customers. And then other ads just exploded, because a lot of brands I've seen, they also give a lot of budget to DPA ads. But originally DPA ads is just a catalog ad. And yes, it may sometimes work for fashion, I agree. But at the same time, it usually works just for closing people from who are already warm, that are ready to buy. And yeah, this is it. Let me know if you have any questions about this in the comments below the video, and subscribe and like this video as well. I will be sharing more tips and more ideas on how to scale your e-commerce businesses as well.